devices here. You got one with my face showing and then one with my face not showing. I need both of them as co-host.
Okay.
How's everybody today? I understand that I've got a lot of men on board, and just so you'll know, up until about 18 months ago, we were more man heavy than we were woman heavy. The skinny drop revolution has changed everything. So there is really serious money here. And what we'll do is kind of go through the presentation. But instead of just doing a presentation, I'm going to talk you through a few of the things. That way you can kind of understand. And as Susan's doing that, I'm going to just share real quick how we got involved. I was I got my master's in nutrition and kinesiology many years ago because my goal was to be a strength coach in college, but it didn't work out that way. And I ended up remaining as a coach in high school, and I won a number of state championships in Tennessee and Arkansas. If you are a football fan, I was 3-0 against Hugh Freeze when he was coaching high school, and 1-0 I beat Gus Malzahn in the state championship in Arkansas. I don't not share that but only for one reason. Like any man, I was in my career. I was doing what I had prepared to do. I loved it. I was really good at it. Unlike some particular professions, for me, I was not making the kind of money that would allow my wife to be a stay-at-home mom with 4 children, which is where we were at that time frame in our life. And we were living a paycheck to paycheck life. And my dad, who is the most analytical man I know, he was a really high-end construction CPA for 40 years in the West Tennessee area. I go home one day and he says to my wife and I, we walk in the door, he says, "Todd, there is a guy been doing his books for 30 years. Everything this guy touches turns to gold. I'm going over to the country club to hear him tonight. Something about a business. You should go with me." And my mom looked at my wife and said, "I'll keep the kids." So we were coaching about 5 hours away without family. So it was an automatic yes from my wife the second she realized we could go out and not have 4 babies around us. So we went, we heard it wasn't this company, it was a different company. And I'm a glass half full guy. So I was not skeptical, but when the guy got done presenting, I didn't actually know the presenter because it wasn't even the guy that invited my dad. It was somebody else that presented. He came up to me and asked, "What'd you think?" And I said, "It looked awesome." And he said, "Well, you ready to get started?" That particular company was about $1,000 startup. And I said, "Well," I said, I love it, but I don't have the money to start. Even if I did, there's no way I could do it. I coached an 8A football program. We got beat in the state championship this year. And if I don't get back to the state championship and win it, they'll fire me. So, the job just never ends. And he said, "Well, how much longer do you want to live like that?" And that story is 22 years ago. So it obviously resonated with me because I didn't want to live like that no longer. It's okay to work 16 hours a day if you got plenty of money, but it wasn't okay, I guess, to do it with trying to figure out how to pay your bills and keep a wife on with 4 kids. So, but I didn't join. My dad called me like 3 weeks later and he said, "Todd, your mom and I are going to pay you and my sister was a nurse. We're going to pay yours and your sister's way in." And I don't know why he did it. We wished he hadn't, because if he hadn't, we could have made him a lot of money. But he said, "I'm going to put myself under you." Because I guess he was tired of letting me, because, if you have kids in their 30s and they're not financially successful, dad's the go-to guy. So I guess he was trying to get me off this payroll every now and then. But that's where it begun for us. And we just began to work it. It was very different than this. It's where I met Susan Franks. It was a technology-based business. But we signed up. It made a little bit of money the first year. Made enough the second year that it was significantly more than I was coaching. And I looked at my wife one day and I said, "Listen, I can coach anytime, anywhere. This may never come again. And right now, headed into the summer when all the 7-on-7 and camp start, I don't have time to do both. What do you think?" And we decided to go full time. And that decision was made now 21 years ago. So our children, who at the time were all under 5, all out of college now, except for one, never saw their mom and dad go to work. We have lived on residual income our entire life. Do I work hard some? Yes. But we do it on our own terms. Like if I want to go to to Tahiti for the next 4 months. I have to ask nobody. I have to do nothing. And my paychecks will be plenty good without me talking to nobody. You can't do that the first couple of years, but you can after a couple of years. So by the time I met Susan Frank, we were probably at about 150,000 a month when I met her. After meeting her, in the next 24 months, we went to $250,000 a month. So I always tell people it took me 7 years to cumulatively make $1 million in this industry. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. It took me 6 years to cumulatively make $1 million in the network marketing industry. But in our 7th year, we made $1 million. And by our 9th year, I think our biggest 1099 was 2 point something. I can't remember exactly, but 2 point something, whatever, in the average of $250,000 equals. Anyway, I share that to let you know. Now here's the negative if you're really successful. And that is finding the time to do it. It's hard for me coaching, but like if I already have my eye on something that's creating financial independence, it's time to roll with that. Like, don't get distracted. Let your wife do it. But I will tell you what I found out very quickly when I went full time. It was the most eye-opening thing I had ever seen in my entire life. There are wealthy people out here. Very few of them will not sign up if you show them this. Very few. They're the most open-minded people I've ever met. Susan will tell you that when she met me in Charlotte, North Carolina, that Mel Graham, who's the nephew of Billy Graham, was in my business, and we flew around everywhere doing meetings on his Citation jet. He was the biggest developer in North Carolina. I had the biggest developers. So did Susan. Susan's number one guy was worth $30 million when he joined the company. He was over in Fayetteville, North Carolina, big lumber company family. Like, those people do this. It's the middle range that doesn't. It's like, us broke football coaches. I'm like, well, we got to lose. Everybody know we ain't got no money. But it's that, I always say, and when I first started, it was like that $150,000 a year person. But if you don't know this yet, 200 to 250 is the new 100 to 150. Like, it's 250,000 to, let me share my screen real quick, because I've actually got this for you to see right off of Google. And then we're going to go into the presentation. Hey, Reese, by the way, I asked him to be here. Reese is you guys, because some of the guys that are attached to the wives that are really doing well, I kind of know you through them. And I know some of you have been really successful. Steph's husband, I can't remember your name, but I know that you were the CFO of a big company. And Susan, I know your husband has been really successful in business. I mean, you tell that just with your background. You got a really nice house. But Reese is that guy. I'm not. I'm a football coach. My success has been in network marketing, but Reese runs the largest shrimp company in Florida. He's a couple $100,000 a year guy. And I mean, he is in charge outside the owner. So Reese, why don't you share real quick, as I'm sharing my screen, kind of your perspective, because your wife was way ahead of you before you got involved.
Oh yeah, when it comes to this, I mean, I'm a business guy. I mean, I'm here. It's Saturday. I didn't have any meetings today. I normally try to do partner co-meetings today, but we did so many this week. It was amazing. But anyways, but I'm here at work finishing up some stuff. But I was the skeptical guy. If you were on the previous call, you heard me talk about me being skeptical. My wife started doing this. She came to me and said, "Hey, I'm going to do these drops. I'm going to do the business." And I know most people probably heard my story on the drops. I called them snake oil, but that snake oil now has me down 65 pounds. So I'm a firm believer in what it is. But then on the business side, though, is where it for me, I was very skeptical. I called it a scam. I made fun of my wife for doing it. Never thought it was going to happen. As you heard in the last call, I mean, she basically went and bought me a guitar. And I'm like, where did you get this money? As Todd said, I make good money. My wife makes great money. We both work 60, 65 hours a week. And, but when she did that, we have 5 kids. I'm like, we don't have that in the budget. I mean, we make great money, but we still live paycheck to paycheck with 5 kids living on the beach. And she was like, well, I got paid from Partner Co. She bought me this guitar. She showed me how much it was. I'm like, I want to see the money that you're actually making. She showed it. And I'm like, I can't believe this. And that's Todd, in the last call, Todd talked about, what that did and how he came over, showed me the business plan. And that's when I realized this is a legit business. This is a business you can actually make money, and you can make money on your own terms. I have one of the best bosses in the world, but he's still my boss. And if he decided tomorrow that he wanted to shut this thing down, I would be without a job, you know? So I always thought I was going to work till the end of time, till my time was up on this earth, because I didn't think I could ever retire. But this is what's brought us now to be able to really think about retiring now. So it changed my whole mindset. And then I dove head first in it. And my wife's really good on the social media side. I'm an analytical guy, so I learned the back office. I literally spent, Todd, I don't remember how many times I jumped in the truck with you and basically said, all right, this part of the pay plan, tell me. And we went over and over and over until I knew the pay plan inside and out, just because that's my personality. So we, as a team, when you and your spouse do this together, or at least the spouse isn't pulling against you like I was originally with my wife, it makes it's a game changer. It's a game changer for your business. It's a game changer for your home. It's just absolutely amazing what it does when you come together and do this together. So having a supportive spouse, and not shoving it down their throat. My wife didn't. She just went out and bought a guitar, and that's what got my attention. Just having that supportive spouse changes the world.
Okay, so what we're going to do, like, you guys are seeing the skinny drop system. Susan Frank nor I ever built in a skinny drop system before. That just came out of thin air and became the greatest thing I've ever seen in the 22 years I've been in network marketing, because it actually brings people to you instead of you having to go find people. It's a big difference especially people that start without a skill set. They're able to make real money just with what we call attraction marketing online. But this is a business presentation. So you don't, like, I don't do myself. I do enough skinny drop posting when I'm trying to build a new leg to get some people to work with. But I build a business. My day is spent helping people make money. And for a lot of people, that's teaching them how to sell skinny drops, because they can't do the business yet. They don't have the skill set, nor the people, nor the contacts, nor anything. But you start bringing those customers in, we start changing our brand partners, then we start training them, then we start helping them. So, but this is a business presentation. Let's just say, and this is how I built. I never posted skinny drops until 18 months ago. I would call people on the phone, not text, not message. When all these girls I was like, get their number and let's talk to them. They're like, I ain't got their number. I'm like, how do you not have their number? She said, I just talked to them on Facebook. So I couldn't even comprehend that. I've had to learn all that the last 18 months. But I'm adaptive. In business, you have to be adaptive or you get left behind. That's in any business. Everything's always changing. So the business approach is, hey, listen, I have found something that my wife and I are doing from home, and there's some real money in it. And more importantly than money, there's a chance here we can get some time freedom, show up for retirement, retire early. So I always tell people, listen, this industry afforded me a plane, a full-time pilot, an 18,000 square foot house. It's afforded me anything that I could ever dream of, but none of it matters. Like, I could have cared less. I don't have the plane anymore. I'd like to have it every now and then, but no big deal. But I will tell you what it gave our family that very few people get anymore. And that is time freedom with money. Generally, most people in the world have one of two things. They have time and no money to really enjoy it. Like, they can't go anywhere. They can't go on vacation 4 or 5 times a year. They can't go see the world. And the other thing, there's a lot of really successful businessmen, high-end doctors. I know them all. They're all in my business. I know their stories. Like, nobody can lie to me. I know every profession, and I know the good parts of them and the bad parts, but there's so many people, and doctors are the worst. And the more they make, the more this pertains to them. They have no life. They're on call. 7 days a week. They are always gone. Reese, he has a great job. The owner entrusts him with his company, but he's at the beholding of the owner. Like, he's got to make it all go. So that's 60, 70 hours a week. Is it like Reese and I live at the beach? He should be out fishing today. That's my goal with him. No more working on Saturdays. I should be out fishing today. It's raining in Florida, so it's perfect timing. So like, this gives a person a chance to get both time and money in about 3, 4, 5 years. And the last thing I'll say before I start the business presentation is, and this is where, like, when I get the big developers, the business owners, not corporate America is different because they don't own it. And they're also the least likely to do our business. Corporate America. By the way, I'm going to say this, like, I say a lot of things, but I say it only for you to think about, not as a negative. It's not a negative comment at all. So what I'm about to say, don't take it negatively. It's just factual. If you go to a bank, everybody in the bank and most corporate companies are vice president. Like when you say, what are you? I'm vice president of such and such. Like it's a whole status thing. And you're not really working great as a team always. Some companies do it better than others because like that great next pay raise and job is depending upon you getting it, not somebody else getting it. You don't all move together is what I'm trying to say. Very competitive, almost in a bad way. But that's generally your $100,000 to $300,000 a year couple. They're the least likely to do this. I'll just tell you, that man, because their status is more important to them than their wallet. And they don't want somebody to think they're doing a home-based business. And I say that in a good way. It's not a bad thing to be. You're saying that's what you've got to overcome. Like that is the holdback with that world. But you take me to somebody north of 500,000. They've got real money. They're actually saving. They got time freedom a little bit. Like they've got like they have a bigger mind. Their status, they don't give a dang what people think about them because their bank account's big. So I love to show broke people and rich people. Those are my two favorite groups to show. And people that are hungry, coachable, willing. So all that said, that doesn't mean nothing I said is negative. I don't, because I'm meeting everybody for the first time. I don't want you to take that the wrong way, but it is your biggest thing to overcome if you're in that world. All right. So here's the business presentation. This is a business you can do part-time. There is, the investment here is $30. There is no financial risk involved. This is not an investment. This is a time investment / emotional capital investment for people that work it because it directs your emotions around a lot in the people business. But this may be the greatest opportunity out there right now because it is capturing 3 converging markets. The wellness industry is exploding, not just here, but globally. It's like a $4 trillion empire now, globally. We have access to it all. You all know we're all in all the countries. So it's also capturing the technology revolution. When I began this journey in 2001, I would stop at gas stations and buy maps. Payphones were, I did have a cell phone when I started, but it wasn't a smartphone yet. So it was like every meeting had to be done with them. Like I had to get on a plane to go show 3 people. There were no Zooms. But in today's world, literally, I have a 12.9-inch iPad that's on cellular. I am in business 24/7. I can present from my truck. I can present from the beach. I did present from, Ashley and I spent 30 days on a private island in Tahiti after the Tahiti trip we won. And I was doing Zooms on an island where there weren't any people. I mean, you can literally do this from anywhere on earth. You don't need an office. You don't need anything. And then the last market it's capturing is the home-based business world. And I always say COVID created this. What happened in COVID is a lot of people got sent home for a couple of years, and they some are still home, but a lot of them had to go back to work. But they realized, like most people that have always worked, don't realize that when you're working from home, you can take care of a few things. You can see your kids. You can see your spouse. You can run to the store. And the work day, you have a little bit of flexibility, and so they get sent back out there and they're tied down again. They don't have that flexibility anymore. So those 3 converging markets are just like it's a fire. We're watching it happen in front of our very eyes. So the name of the company is called Partner Co. We are global, as you all know. We, from a business standpoint, are in the network marketing / direct sales industry. Like any industry, we have a governing agency. We have a magazine. The DSA, the Direct Sales Association, governs our industry, the 7,000 companies in the world. They've given us their AAA plus opportunity rating after the new owners came in and bought the assets of these companies and became Partner Co 18 months ago. We are ranked, or have been ranked, #1 in momentum, and we're always going to be in the top 2, 3, 4, 5. You can Google Better Business from Home, which is a magazine that is featured, that features our industry monthly. It's published, or maybe more online now. So we're #1. We're #1 ranked compensation plan, meaning we pay out more than the rest do. 50-50 split is the way our pay plan works. There's that $1 trillion global economy. We have everything. We have the energy drinks. That's a $4 billion industry by itself in the US, not to include the other countries. I'm sorry, that's way more than a 4 billion. Red Bull was 4 billion. That's I don't even know what the rest of them are. We have liquid superfoods. We have things that rise human growth hormone. We have things for inflammation, for sleep, for balancing women's hormones, for blood sugar issues. 80% of the country is walking around with metabolic syndrome with blood sugar issues. Like, we have it all. All you have to do is get good at understanding your niche. And for a lot of the women on this, their niche is they think it's weight loss and hormones, but it's not. They're stabilizing people's blood sugar and making them healthy. And weight loss is a great side effect of becoming healthy and increasing your chances of living a good long life. There's all the countries. And because we are now all interconnected from the technology standpoint, we can do business in Singapore or Sydney, Australia, or Beijing, China, the same as we can do it in your hometown. It does not matter. Reese, would you mind sharing real quick about the couple that joined you from Costa Rica and how many countries that's led you to? And you do business presentations all day at the shrimp company from that office in Port St. Joe, Florida, but I think it's moved you into 12 countries in the last 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, we're in 12 countries. So for us, I'll never forget when Todd showed me this slide. The first time I told my wife, Ashley, I was like, that's pretty cool. Maybe we'll have some people in Mexico because we like to go down there to vacation. It's like, but we don't really know anybody outside the US. And within a month, we had a friend of mine that we signed up. She had a friend in the United Kingdom and she signed them up. And so we all of a sudden, within a month, we had a global business. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool, at the time. But then we signed when Chris and Joni, who live in Costa Rica, they're Canadians, but they live in Costa Rica. We only have product in Costa Rica, but they do the business from Costa Rica. They started opening up, and we opening up countries because they've been in the industry for so long that they knew a lot of people around the world, and their people knew people, and their new people. I mean, we have teams growing in Canada, Mexico, Austria, Sweden, the UK. It's 12 total countries now at this point. And who knows if there's not another one on there. That was as of last week, but it's just amazing. We literally have a global virtual franchise that I never thought we would have. I mean, it's our business. It's our business, and we get to do it how we want to and when we want to.
Yeah, for the business minds out there, we have infrastructure around the world. We have shipping facilities in those countries. We have rep services facilities in those countries. We have manufacturing in those regions, not necessarily in the countries, but we have a European manufacturing. We have manufacturing in China. We have manufacturing in Japan. We have, I believe that's all. Maybe the Netherlands or Belgium's a big shipping center. So it's all set up. They pay in their currency. They get paid in their currency. So literally they buy a product in Austria on Tuesday. They pay in their currency. It clocks out on Friday night at midnight, and the following Friday you get paid in American dollars on what they bought in Australian dollars the previous week. And, quality is what makes any business. We're no different. First time I met Reese, he was sharing why his shrimp is so much better than everybody else's shrimp. And that's why he's the largest shrimp company in Florida, because they're better. Same here. Our products are superior. Like, you're just not going to find these in other places. It's one of the reasons they cost a little extra. By the way, the business model, a lot of people don't understand our business model. I don't want to mention this. Our business model is like, if you go to a nutrition store, those nutrition stores are buying from a manufacturer at wholesale, and they're selling at retail, but they've got a storefront, employees, and no leverage. So all they really have is a paid-for job. So the next step is then they franchise it. When you franchise it, well, then you start selling your stores to other people. So this happened to me. I meet so many people that I always say, the golden rule is networking is what really makes you rich. But a guy I met years ago called me about 6 months ago, and he said, "Hey, listen, Todd, I know you're not going to." He said, he literally said, "I'll pay you $25,000 to come train my franchise owners how to treat people right." He said, "I want to create this Chick-fil-A feel." And I said, "I ain't got time." I said, "I wished I could, but there's just no way unless you're going to pay me $100,000 a month, and then I'll make time." But he couldn't, so I didn't. But he said, "Well, then I will give you some franchises if you want to put your kids in them." And I said, "I might do that." So I took my daughter. She just graduated from college, and her boyfriend. We went to Tennessee. We studied what he was launching. He's already launched. He's already got like 40 stores already. But started launching it, tremendous profit margin, everything good, until I started really studying it. Like, it's a corporate website. So if people want to buy, they go to the corporate website. You don't get this credit at your store if they buy after they leave your store. And then he gets 8% of all sales. That doesn't even account for employees and overhead and everything. He's 8% off the top of sales. So like that's franchising for you. He has leverage. The franchisee has no leverage. You can buy more. In my case, I could get more free ones, but I have no leverage. I'm not getting 8% on everybody's store. He is. See, in network marketing, we all have leverage. Like if you just signed up and you haven't signed anybody up, then everybody above you has leverage of you selling. But guess what? You can do what they did. Go sign some people up. Now, if you have 4 people, you got leverage on 4 people selling. Go build a team like Susan Frank is, and you get leverage on 50,000 people selling. And that's how you drive around a bus and have 2 lake houses. One you use as a storage house, because you have leverage. You can never create wealth with leveraging money or leveraging people in big business. So like we're the franchise that makes it fair without the overhead and without the employees. Like it's like there's no downside risk here. So anyway, sorry, I got off track there, but business minds need to know that because a lot of them don't know that. I figured that out. I can't assume that people understand our industry. So then on the product side, if I'm in a business, and by the way, I do not say all this in a business presentation. I am training / presenting. If I show a business presentation to somebody for you, it's 10 to 12 minutes. Same as the skinny drop presentation, just different subject matter. So here, I don't spend a lot of time on the products. I'll just say, we move these products to the end consumer. I'm going to mention 3 to you. If you do have a blood sugar issue, you do want to lose weight, you've got some lifestyle issues going on like high blood pressure, things like that, these 2 sets of drops are really, really helpful. They were created by doctors. It comes with a direction booklet. It follows what's called the low glycemic food indexes, which is what every type 2 diabetic should be eating. It's what everybody should be eating if they don't want to become a type 2 diabetic. It's lean meats, it's vegetables and fruits that have fiber attached, that negate that sugar content that's in them. And we have cookbooks, we have all kind of great things, but if you have interest, they line out a lot of things in your body, get your body on your side. It's really helpful. These are both some men and women that have used them and that have had a lot of success. As you can see, it works for every body type. There is the wife we've been talking about of Reese. There he was when I met him on day 1 on the left picture, and then on the right picture, you can see what occurred for him. Same thing. And Reese, you also, I think you said you were on a sleep apnea machine when I met you.
Yeah, I was on a CPAP for sure. And between losing the weight and the Renew, and that's what I credit it to anyways, I'm totally off my CPAP. I went from severe, I can't remember the number of whatever it is, but I went from what they said severe, and I actually shared this from my porter on my health page from my doctor, but I went from severe sleep apnea to no signs of sleep apnea in 6 months.
You do not have to sell skinny drops, but this man does. He has sold like 500 boxes. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen, watching him get on and tell his IPA in the morning with his goatee. Randy, somebody I sponsored, he called me because he weighed 400 pounds and wanted to lose weight, but we've already got him making like 4,000 a week, and he owns a massive, massive landscape company. He does like $250,000 jobs on the lake up in Nashville and different places. This couple right here, everybody wishes for this, but this couple actually called us they found us online. They own like 5 dry cleaners in Richmond, Virginia. And they called and said, hey, we've been studying the industry. We're tired. We can't keep employees. We have so many headaches. We make a great living. We're not complaining about our income. We're complaining about our life. We work 90 hours a week. We're sick of it. And so it's like we attract that person that's come to the realization that maybe 5 dry cleaners and to make 400,000 might not be as smart as network marketing from home to make 400,000. And then for a man, by the way, athletic performance here is huge with skinny drops too. But the next 2 are the men products. Every man needs to stabilize his blood sugar, because if you don't, you're going to die sooner than you should have. But the next 2 are the 2 products that men can't come off of if they're above 45 years old. So MOA is 36 of the world's best superfoods in a little liquid pouch. It's got 6 medicinal mushrooms in it. The nutritional benefit at the cellular level is beyond imagination. It boosts the immune system. The mushrooms have so much clinical research showing their ability to slow down or stop cancer cell splitting. But the miracle of MOA is it reduces inflammation of any kind. It's got everything that people buy already, from the turmeric to the curcumin, lion's mane, and many others that have clinical research. So that's a type 2 diabetic. The swelling that came out of her ankle in 2 weeks. Just as a retired lieutenant colonel from the Army. He sprung his ankle. That was the next morning after taking 3. This is eczema and psoriasis, dries it up 100% of the time. That's rheumatoid arthritis. That lady was on a walker in picture 1, and 4 months later, she was doing air squats when I went over and met her in person. All of those guys either are collegiate or professional football players. The guy on the left is a starter for Kansas City currently, came out of the University of Tennessee. He's been on Mo with us since he was in the 8th grade. The guy on the right played a decade at Philadelphia. His name's Artis Hicks. So, like, we attract that crowd. We don't talk about it a lot in the skinny drop system, but that's a big moving crowd in our company. Oh, shoot. Didn't have the, I'm just going to tell you without the slides, so I have to go search around for it. I forgot I didn't have it on this particular one. I was searching for a business presentation. But the third product and the second for the man is Renew. Renew is our newest product. We have 2 international patents on it, but it naturally raises human growth hormone. HGH is the single most important hormone in a male or female's body. I'm always talking to the females lately, so I'm not going to talk to them at all today. They get it all the time. For men, it's going to optimize and help you raise testosterone levels. Without proper HGH and proper testosterone, a man in his latter years is not the man he was in his younger years. The body composition will begin to change. The libido will begin to change. The desire, the type A personality that drives you will begin to change. Those are the 2 hormones we must maintain. And HGH is equal to, as a matter of fact, it's more important than testosterone. Testosterone is more important in a couple of areas, but overall, because HGH has to be present for all cellular regeneration. The more you have of it, the better you're going to be. The better your bone density, the better your body composition, your lean muscle mass, the better results. If you do work out, everything's better. Your type A drive is better. Your libido is better. And then there's some other things, ashwagandha, some things to raise your testosterone. If you have, I always tell men to go check your testosterone at the doctor, because I'm a big believer in TRT too. If you have low testosterone, you don't have to be. I'm just throwing that out there. But HGH will make you more of a man. It takes a minute. The Renew takes about 4 months to kick in. If you're a man above 200 pounds, you should take 2 packets a night. But if you do MOA and Renew and you're above 45 years old and you do them both for 4 months, the only issue you have is you can't come off of them, because your body will reset a decade or more. The inflammation is going to come down, which means the pain, the aches are going to start lessening, hopefully go away. The recovery times for the things you do will start being back like they were. I mean, if you're 75, you're not going to be 30 again, but you might be 50 again. If you're 55, you're not going to be 20, but you might be 35 again. I will tell you 100% in my body with Mow and Renew at 55, I am way better than I was at 45 on recovery, everything. It's just way, way better. I cannot believe it. I'm still just mind blown how effective they are. So long-term, men got to stabilize blood sugar and lose weight. That's equally as important as a woman. But the women are getting some hormonal benefits and other things out of those drops that men maybe don't get as much of long-term. I would say a lot of the women stay on those drops for the way it makes them feel more than the weight loss. But the Renew and Moa for men. All right, the business. Step 1, pay your $30. You're buying a business. Go borrow $1 million, buy one that way. But you got to pay it off. Here, you got the same upside potential. Normal businesses, especially things like restaurants, traditional business, generally speaking, 2+ years to start turning any legit profit. I don't mean you don't run money through the cash register, but like to turn a real profit is hard in business. And then the only businesses that ever create wealth are big businesses, which means you got to scale those to like 50+ employees, and you're going to be investing all your profits. Here, you're not scaling employees, you're scaling brand partners to get into the leverage and create the big businesses. Now you're setting them up. And here's the greatest thing in big business. Hey, give me 1 second. Hey, Siri, text Chris Dole. Chris, I need you for 5 minutes on a Zoom. Come as quick as you can. This is the link. Sorry. Give me 1 second. Let me send this link to him. So Chris, when I met him, he had the largest blue jean factory in Tennessee. He stonewashed blue jeans for Lee's, Levi's, everybody. He was making about $4 million a year. And he had 430 employees. They passed the NAFTA agreement on him. They passed the NAFTA agreement on him, and he lost over the next 2 or 3 years. He lost his company to Mexico. When I met him, he only came to the meeting that night because a nephew had bribed him over a four-wheeler at the duck camp. And he walked in and he met his banker, who he owed $8 million to and couldn't pay, in the lobby. The banker was already in my business. And Chris can tell you the story better than I can if he'll show up here. Susan, let me know if he shows up. He may be out on his boat. But he walked in and the banker says to him, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "I'm going to some stupid meeting. My son-in-law that I hunted his duck camp. He's got me bribed into coming and looking at it." And he didn't know it, but that banker, he wasn't presenting yet, but I had the banker in the front of the room giving the testimonial. So when Chris, I didn't know the story. I wasn't a part of it happening. But Chris sat in the back of the room, and the bankers who introduced me to speak that night there in Jackson, Tennessee. But anyway, Chris got involved with me, not out of want to. He would have rather done anything on planet Earth than network marketing. I still think he hates network marketing. But he has made millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars with me. And it's the only way he could have ever built back, because when you lose a company like that, you have so much issues of going and borrowing money again. But he understood leverage because he had 430 employees. What he always tells people is those 430 employees, they were terrible. They hated him. He hated them. They showed up, did just enough work to keep from getting fired. He paid them just enough to get from quitting. They're always calling in, just all issues going on all the time. He worked very, very hard. I want to say it took him about 4 years to turn a profit in that particular business. But here, within about the third year, he was back to about 40,000 a month, and I think his peak been about 100,000 a month in the industry. And but he got him a 72-foot Hatteras on the Tennessee River, so he spends most of the time in the boat. If he's out on the boat, he'll join us and close this out. But then the start's the same. You just get a pat and start building, and hopefully some of y'all were in the paper. And I'm going to share my screen and let you guys ask any questions, or Susan, add any, Frank, who's been on this journey with me now for 15 years, may want to add anything in. And Fred Duff, I know that you've been in this business industry for a while too. I asked him to be here too. So anything y'all want to add in, and then any of y'all that are here, ask any questions.
Hey there. So Kevin started having some questions for me a couple weeks ago, just around the pay plan, or around the tree, around placement, around different things. So maybe he just kind of wants to speak to some questions or kind of his thoughts for the husbands, and just bringing different men in the industry. And maybe you can elaborate from what he has to say, Todd.
Yeah. So yeah, I have a really hard cutoff at 12 o'clock my time Central. So we don't have time to do the pay plan, but I've got a ton of recordings. So I will send you some recordings to go through, and I've got some really long recordings that get real in depth on the pay plan. I'll send those to you, but I do have 15 minutes for anything anybody wants to ask or know.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, so my question is, is Susan talking?
Susan, are you talking?
I think she must unmute her back. I'm gonna mute her back. Susan, Frank, I muted you, but I didn't bang you. Unmute again. I didn't know if you unmuted on purpose or not.
Yeah, okay. So my question, Todd, is my wife's been up for 4 months. She's obviously done really well. Just hit 6 figures, I believe, this week. So I'm just a guy on the sidelines that's kind of watching her do all this. I'm not really that involved. And of course, now she's really got my interest sparked on how can I get involved. And one of the questions I have is, when I see this, it looks like it's geared toward women as far as the selling of it. And as far as my friends, my network goes, the people that I interact with every day, those guys are probably not going to post 2 times a day on Facebook. They're probably not going to post at all. But some of these guys have big money, big business guys. They don't mind investing in it, but they want an alternative strategy.
Okay.
And
right,
maybe
so
catch some big fish, if you will. Yeah.
So there's a really simple answer, and there's 2 pieces to the answer. So generally speaking, if there is the husband is a really successful business guy, they're probably working 40 to 70 hours a week. They're, number one, they don't have time because they've got to keep their eye on the ball to pay all the bills. And number 2, they have 0 interest in anything to do with what we're doing in the skinny drop system. Like, I wouldn't even tell them about it on the approach. But there is no man that's not interested in making more money. I'll promise you there's not. So we have to eliminate what holds that man back. And so we know it's time. So the first thing you got to do is let me do some initial presentations. I'm going to tell you the approach in a second, but you need to see my 12-minute presentation to that man and then just duplicate it. It's simple once you see it. I should have probably trained and then done a 12-minute presentation, not confused everybody, because that was not a presentation. That was a training. I was training as I was going through it. So that the approach is really simple. Hey, listen, my wife and I have made $100,000 in a little home-based business in 5 months. It's worth 10 minutes and taking a look at. Tell me when you got 10 minutes. I'm gonna have this guy down in Florida that's making millions at it. Hop on with us and just share it with you real quick. And let me share. And you'll see that 12-minute overview. And then what I'm going to tell him at the end, listen, you don't have to do what we just did. Tell me, I do not know your first name. What is your first name again?
Calvin.
One more time.
Calvin.
Okay, Calvin. Sorry, I always want to call people by their first name. So Calvin, I will say Calvin, just like Calvin set this up and asked me to help, his wife and another lady who's making millions at this, they are doing this full time. So all Calvin did was set this appointment. That's his time for the day. He was here with you because he's the credibility. But a lot of times I've done presentations for people that are too busy. They just call and say, hey, listen, I want you to meet with this guy. And we meet with them and they're not even present. That can be done too. But I'm going to say, what I will tell everyone is we're going to work, because Susan knows how to do the business approach. She made $1 million in the network marketing industry before she ever sold a box of drops on a business approach, not a skinny drop approach. So we're going to approach that person normally. And we're going to tell him, just connect the dot to some people you think might want to make money from home. And we're going to tell him, we have a system for women especially, but men too, that are interested. But for the wives, that they can do this, they can make crazy money just like Susan is from home. So now you get into the wife that Susan don't know. And then we're going to get him to set 12-minute appointments, just like you did with him. And we're going to do a business presentation to the businessman, and we're going to do the skinny drop presentation. We get the wife on the hook, and it brings more contacts into the Rolodex. They're never working it. Some of them will eventually once it becomes worth their time, but I always call it, they're just a bird dog. They have high visibility, high credibility. They can get people to listen that the wife can't get to listen. And we do the presentation and they get involved at whatever degree. And we tell them on the front end, listen, you don't have to put time into this. We just need you to connect dots to more people that you think might be good at this. So that's the business approach. And that's 90% of it. The investment approach is pretty simple. It's not really an investment. It's just when we bump into somebody, and not in your business, Susan, this is a clear-cut thing. Like, they're not investing into your business. They're going to invest into their own business. So what I will say to them is, listen, I mean, I'm never going to tell somebody to invest in their business. They're going to have to bring it up to me. But then I'll say, if you got money that you want to, put to work, as you start connecting the dots, when we find people, if I get to a woman and she does not have the money to go ultimate like you just did, if you want to invest in them going ultimate and get them some products they can sell and get us building a business, then we hopefully can create a really long-term return, because one person here could make you $5 million. You buy somebody, pay $3,000 to get somebody ultimate, and in 7 years from now, that could return $5 million. But it can also, you can get somebody ultimate for $3,000 and they do nothing. So like, I'm very upfront with somebody on this. So like, it's not a 6% return. This is could be a $3,000 loss, or it could be they go to work and make a little bit back. They can make a lot back, or it could be crazy. Like, thing could and Susan and I both have seen, like, not necessarily an approach on an investment. People do it all the time. Like, my dad paid my way in the company. That was an investment. The only thing he did wrong was he didn't put himself underneath me, because he did put me under my sister, and my sister's probably made about $3 million and has also never worked network marketing. She's just overrode me all these years.
See that today. And
that's it. I mean, there's nothing more. You just got to do 12-minute presentations. Susan Frank can do them. Like Susan Franks has only been doing the skinny drop system for 5 months.
Came in yesterday.
What time?
So do you want, Todd, we've got 10 minutes. Do you want to run through that business presentation as quick as you can so we can
Absolutely.
see what you would show everybody? That'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
While he's getting that ready, do any of the other men have questions, thoughts, feedback? Petey?
Go ahead.
Love it. This is
Yeah, I've got
fabulous.
a question. Oh,
I'm going back in time a little bit. I'm going to take some stuff off.
I got a quick question.
Go ahead.
So, it is really easy for me to be disciplined, fairly disciplined with the food. Sticking to this list is, I've been on the drops for about a month or so now. There's been a couple things that have been difficult, but I'm curious if you, like, if I decide to have, a couple beers on a Friday, a couple beers on a Saturday, how
Okay.
much does that, I know alcohol, stops, the the fat burning process for about 3 days. Does it make a difference if you were to isolate or to, uh, does it just the end time whenever, or is it volume? I guess that's kind of the easiest way to put it.
So short answer is binge drink one day, don't spread it out through the week. That's the short answer. Long answer is, if you spike blood sugar, I don't care if it's alcohol, apple, I'm not an apple, a banana, a Snickers bar, a Gatorade, they're all the same. When sugar hits the blood, it becomes glucose. When it gets too much, it's going to move it over to glycogen in the liver muscle. When it gets too much there, it's going to store it as fat. But the main thing it's going to do is it's going to spike your insulin. And depending on how active you are, it could not be 3 days if you're an active man working out, doing things. But if you're an inactive man or you're an inactive woman, which generally speaking, women are a little slower to burn through their glucose and glycogen, it can take 3 full days to get back to the fat burning process. So absolutely it does. So one of the things I had to do to get back and really fit was, in Florida, it's like if you don't drink wine with your friends or at their house or at dinner, like you're an outcast. So I would always have like a glass of red wine. I don't drink a lot, but that's just enough. I can't lose weight. Like one glass of wine will throw me off for the day at 55 years old. So removing that changed everything. So no issue though, having a few drinks a day on the weekend. The last thing I'll say on the long answer is it also depends on how insulin insensitive you are. There's a lot of 50-plus-year-old men walking around with insulin sensitivity, metabolic syndrome that hides under a lot of names. It's elevated blood sugar before it comes type 2 diabetic. What it means is you're not fat adapted. You're having a hard time getting to burn fat. So if you're that person, then you're much more sensitive to it. But I would say an average man could have a cheat meal or two a week and at least drink 1 day a week, and the rest of the time take the drops and eat from the approved food list and be losing weight consistently, especially if they had much to lose. So it's like women that are in their 50s, 40s, and 50s, they've got hormonal things going on, they've got low thyroids. They're the ones that have to tighten things up much harder than a man does.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so here's the business. I'm sorry, I thought I had already shared my screen. Here's the business presentation. By the way, you will have a different one because I'll have to bridge the gap to the new world because I have had to switch over to this skinny drop system because it's making everybody so much money. But this is one, I'm just going to use Chris, the guy that I asked to come on here, that story I just told you. So when Chris was doing it, when he did his presentation, he was only using one product at the time. He did other products, but this was his quick business presentation. This is pre-Partner Co. So you may see some of the older names here. So there's Mr. Chris. He'll tell everybody all the time, he did not join the company for nutrition. He said he trusted Todd. We were funny when we met, we traveled a lot together, and I'd go in and buy a protein bar, he'd go in and buy a snow cone. And our previous company wasn't a nutrition company. So in this company, but he has become a nutrition advocate. He's about 100 pounds lighter than he was in that picture now. And he really takes care of himself. So he just starts, I will start with the residual income. So I sit down with a person, I'm just kind of share this, and it's not even going to be 12 minutes. It's going to be 6 minutes. The reason it's going to be 12 because I got to get to know them first. That's the first 6 minutes. So here's your 6-minute presentation. Listen, I know you're hyper successful at what you're doing. I know that you're a big builder in town and that you're busy, you're managing contractors. I know when you flip a house, it makes you crazy money. But listen, what I want to show you real quick for Calvin is a way to create, in addition to that, some residual income in your life. It's with a company called Partner Co. Like I said, it's old, so I'll have to talk over what you're seeing. It's a company called Partner Co. It'll run from your phone. It's going to take nothing away from what you do. As a matter of fact, Calvin's wife, Susan, has already made about $100,000 in her first 5 months doing this. So she's going to fill in the time, but you're going to see in a second how you're going to connect some dots. But it's a global business from your phone, and there is no upside cap on the amount of money we can make. We've got everything from energy drinks to things to lose weight to superfood drinks At the end of this, if you want to tell me some things going on in your body, I can maybe pinpoint something going wrong. We've got an army of doctors and scientists that oversee the development of the products. They're incredible. But my favorite product, being a man like you, is Renew. And what it does, you take it at night before you go to bed. We've got 2 international patents on it, and it's going to naturally raise your HGH. In return, will help optimize your testosterone production. But HGH, it just is a huge, huge, huge deal in cognitive thinking, skin, hair, heart health, body composition, reducing fat, helping your lean muscle mass, better bone density, way better sexual function and libido, better immune system, better sleep. The guy there on the bottom left, he's won 14 state championships at Hoover in Alabama. He's 58 and just did a miracle in his body. And the reason that it's my favorite product is because as a normal life cycle, we max our HGH production around 30 and we begin a slow decline. So for me, in my middle 50s, you can see I'm making about half naturally. And that's if I haven't sped it up by drinking too much, having elevated blood sugar, sedentary lifestyle, you name it. That's just a normal decline. It could absolutely be worse than that if I haven't been taking care of myself. But you can see there, by the time you get to be 60 and 70, man, you're aging like 125 times faster than you are as a 12-year-old. If you can just stop that from declining or potentially start rising it a little bit, it'll change everything in your body. And Chris always would tell his story because Chris had, him and his wife also had a big libido change in their life. So anyway, here's how it works. To join the company, if you just want to buy the Renew from Calvin, if you end up with no interest, you can. But to do the business, it's $29.99 one time, and then you can order 3 Renew, get you a 3-month supply. It'll be 200 points that'll qualify your business. If you really want to make money at this, if you want to, bird dog this to some people and let Susan kind of run that for you, then we want to get 1,500 points. We can do some more. We'll do a bigger pack of Renew, but I'll tell you a couple other things we can add to it if you want to do that. It'd be about $2,500, and then you'll need an auto ship of once a month of some product. I'll tell you a couple at the end if that's something you want to do that you should take that'll really change. And that's it. That's really all I do. And I will say, if you want me to go through the money, I will. But I'm going to share my screen because generally speaking, with these business guys, it's going to like no people need, like a real business guy. You can't have anybody else there except the person that set the appointment and the presenter and them, because it has to be a very, very personable presentation, because business guys are all different too. Like they're going to have their own questions, their own concerns, their own everything. And then at the end, whether they ask me or not, I'm going to take away the time excuse, because that was, I know I wasn't a financially successful man, but I was a very successful football coach, and my day never stopped, ever. There was never a turn off time. I just had to turn off. So like, that was my biggest thing to overcome in the beginning. So I'm going to take that away. And because of this team being attached to Susan Cameron and Susan Frank, they're going to run it. And if they start running with some of these men, there will be a man rise up. I promise you, there's going to be the Reese Antley in the group. So I'll end the whole day with this. The presentation's over with, but Reese, who y'all heard from a minute ago, like all of these, just like y'all's team, there was a team down here that took off just like y'all have. This girl named Robin Perrone, she's making about $4,000 a week. No. She's at $6,000 a week now because her matching checks kicked in. She's at $6,000 a week. She does no meetings. Nobody knows her name, but she started 3 legs. She sold 1,200 boxes of skinny drops. My wife, Kim Gray, others started converting those customers to brand partners. That would be Ashley Antley, Krista Williams, Ursula, Stephanie Wilson. Some of these girls that you all know were all skinny drop customers of Robin. They got converted to brand partners. Okay, so early on, women are women. I said negative things about corporate men a minute ago. Here's the negative about the women. That's not meant negative. It's just a fact. Women are so much more freaking emotional. Like they're all over not all women, but the majority. Like they're up, they're down, somebody's made them mad. Like men walk into a meeting, we don't even know what people wore. And the women know their shoe color, all those kinds of things. They're telling us about it. Like we don't even know what they're talking about. So like that's engaged in the people business with them too. So when like all of those women, I'm not sure would have survived long-term. I know Reese's wife would not have survived long-term, no matter what she was making. But Reese stepped in and boom, he was the first husband that like engaged and became the presenter, the stabilization. And out of all of those women I just named, none of them make what Reese and Ashley make. Like all of them sell the same. They all make a lot of money. But like Reese and Ashley right now have a business that we're going to pay them, $3,000 to $5,000 a week the rest of their life if they quit tomorrow, and they've only been here 18 months. And when Reese figured that out, he figured it out before he started making. He was like, "Oh my God!" He said, "I see where this thing can really take over." And I won't be able to convey that to that business guy on presentation one. I just got to convey it's worth his time to sign up, come in at Ultimate, get set up, get fully qualified, and then bird dog us to another 12-minute presentation. And let's get your wife in front of Susan and Susan. That'll be the objective of meeting number one. And then if the wife takes off in the skinny drop system with Susan and Susan, they start making money. The business guy's already involved. He may or may not be the one to see like the money and create the stability there. I say may or may not. Listen, y'all, this group of women, Susan, I tell people all the time, when other women ask me Susan's secret, I say, Susan is a man in a woman's body. She has no emotion. She is positive 100% of the time. Like she's more positive than me. I said something the other day. I was like, Susan, I don't know if I can make $250,000 a month in this company. What are you talking about, Todd? You're going to make more than that. That girl from China, she's making it. Why, if she can make it, why can't you make it? Like she auto-corrected me. That's what I'm always doing with people. Because it's hard to make $250,000 a month. Like I work really hard. I wasn't really saying the pay plan can do it. I'm just saying, I don't know if I can physically do it, because I'm about 100,000 a month right now. So to get it to the next level requires what I'm doing right now, a whole lot. So it's like I always say, the enemy of greatness is really good. We have a really good life. So to be great, I got to figure out this 3-year sacrifice time frame again. But maybe, because our kids are all graduated, we're in a new phase of life as empty nesters. So maybe we can do it together this time. I would never leave my wife the amount of time it takes to do it again. But if we can do it together, maybe we're going to do it again. So anyway, that's everything. We're out of time. I'm out of time, but y'all can keep on talking. Y'all on Susan's link. But great to meet all the husbands. And I cannot wait to meet everybody at PXP. Susan told me, because I tell all the leaders that, my wife and I both will be overrun there. But I like to get people to know people well. So I think I'm already scheduled now Sunday night with y'all. So my wife and I both. So we'll just be y'all's team, and I can get to know all of you guys on a personal level, develop a relationship. And it's really fun. Like you will really, I told Reese this, and he now knows it. He tells it all the time. I said, Reese, no matter how good a friend you have today, if you really work this business for 3 years, 95% of your friends will be in this business, and they'll be better than the friends you have today, because we attract like-minded people that are looking for better, most of the time conservative, Christian-minded people that are just good people. They're good human beings. They're not friends by association, meaning kids' parents in the work environment, whatever it may be. So it's a really, really neat thing that very successful men fall in love with.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Todd. If you guys want to stay on for a few, if Susan Frank wants to stay on, and if you guys have any additional questions, she's always amazing to answer anything or kind of thoughts, anything y'all want to say, ask.
I want to ask Susan Frank. Susan, how many men currently are in like your downline with this new product, this reboot, the new owners? And she's gone. Susan Cameron. Susan Cameron. I don't see her picture anymore.
Dang, okay, she's gone, so we can ask her that question. Yeah, I know she's got the guy that did the 56-day challenge, who, what is his name? He started out as a waiter every Tuesdays.
I don't
His
remember.
first goal was he wanted a push lawnmower. Then his second goal, she's like, oh, let's get you that. And then his second goal was he wanted a new car. And then the third goal was he wanted a new house. And then he wanted to renovate that house. And I know that he's optimizing one of her lines. I think he's doing over 50,000 EV a week volume. So it's significant. And I think she's got some guy in Austria that she's building with like this.
And how long did it take that?
What'd you say?
How long did it take him to do that?
We'll have to ask. I don't know. I feel like it was about 1.5 years, 2 years that it took him to do that.
Yeah.
I guess I'm on. This has been very helpful. Thanks, Susan and Kevin.
Kevin Calvin.
I was like, his name's Kevin.
His
Everybody
name
says
is Kevin.
The problem is I can't pronounce my name very well.
We know you, Kevin.
Yeah, well,
At a minimum, it's gotten me, being, retired the last 3.5 years, excuse me, thinking of other people that in the corporate world that have retired that still want to stay in some kind of game. And I think the point's well made that, you may have made money, but you like to have a purposeful life. And so looking at something else, particularly some of the people that I work with that were on the kind of the marketing sales side. So it's got me a little stimulated to call on them to see if they're interested in doing something else. So very helpful.
awesome, great. Yeah, and I know Todd's always available to help us, you guys. And then Todd's feedback when I originally started talking to him about this was, hey, I could work with Kevin to present. We could practice this presentation 5 to 10 times. He'll have it down, and then we'll bring it in. I would kind of like to see more of the math and more of the money. Like, what's your thoughts on that, Pete? Like what he showed us. Do you feel like that's high level and then bring it? Do you think it's enough to kind of hook, or do you think they need to know more about the financials?
Are you talking about comp plan or
Like as a business guy, you've been a CFO. What Todd just showed you, would that get your interest? Would you normally like to know more about the numbers, or kind of what's your feedback to that?
Yeah, I'd like to know something about that, but it's mainly trying to paint the picture, and I think he does a decent job of doing it, what the potential is. I will kind of editorialize and say the comp system is kind of, in depth. They're kind of hard to follow. I've been through it a few times. I get the general broad strokes, but it's I guess I would like something that would give you the ability to do what if, okay? What if I do this? What if I do that? How could that translate into dollars? Because I think it takes a hell of a lot of time and effort, to really get the gist of just how much you can make. I can hear somebody making 50,000 a month, 20, whatever it is, but I think that it just takes a little bit too much to kind of get the idea, I guess. I don't know.
So like, for instance, Susan, when you were the first month in and you made killer funds, like that first 4 weeks, I said, how did you do it? So you explained like the retail line and not just bringing the people in as well. You had upsold product, $1,000 to this cousin, $450 to this. So, and then you had shared with me just actual things that you did. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's how she got to the 17K or whatever the initial was. So even showing people just different ways to do it versus signing them up and bringing them in with a 3-10 pack type of situation, running different pay tracks, I think would be helpful. Because in my brain, I'm like, wait, how did this person hit 6 figures in 4 months? What moving parts and pieces all rolled into that?
Yeah, Steph has been at this now for what?
About 4 months.
Three or 4 months. Okay. And she while she understands the general gist of where she's making her money, I expect her to sit down and say, okay, you made $1,500 this week. How did you make it? And it's a struggle for her. Okay. And, oh, you have a savings plan. You made that much. How much went into your savings plan?
That's easy. We know.
No, she even, you were saying the other day what you had in your savings plan. I said,
he thinks you should have more, Susan. He's going to tell you this offline.
I would expect more than that.
Let's find some more money, team. I like the sound of this.
Well, no, I'm just saying. So, yeah, I'm a numbers guy.
That's capped out at 500 a week.
That's where you're probably, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is where is the cap.
And that's kind of the point, I guess, that right there, because there are certain cutoffs in there, the 2,000,
Right.
that, and the other that, oh, okay. Now, if you spend enough time in this, but it's like you need a Navajo guide and a roadmap to kind of get through some of this stuff, and all businesses, hey, let's stay on the positive here, and I am, because it's great for Steph and for us, and the 50% payout is outstanding. Okay. So, anyway, but back to your original question, when I think of people that I think could do a hell of a job in doing this, the numbers piece is part of it. You surely want to understand the commission and get to it relatively quickly, but it's kind of just painting a picture and introducing them to the type of product like the Renew and other things like that guys can relate to for themselves. Okay. And they say, well, yeah, who couldn't use something like that? Okay. And in fact, I was thinking of an individual that he's been for many years on all these vitamins. He's a health nut, if you will, and a marketing guru and all that, has sold in the past and whatever else. So I said, I ought to give Mark a call. And I that's where I want to go, is because he's a pretty sharp cookie and he's been around the block, to hear him see something pitched and see how he reacts to it. Okay. That would be helpful to me and probably helpful to others too. How does a guy who's relatively successful, retired now, look at something like this? What are the holes, if there are any?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything takes effort. You expect to do that. But anyway, I'll quit talking.
Okay, that sounds perfect. Yeah, I'd love to hear some feedback from Roger and Alan and Mark and Drew. And this was also what sparked this. I'm going to say this super quick. So what happened was I had a girl that came, so I'm building down line 1, right? So I'm building a power leg, and I have a girl that comes in and she's kind of 4 spots down. So I continue to build her leg. She brings in one person that becomes her leg 2. That one person recruited like 5 people. Well, accidentally, some of my group got moved under her leg 2, giving her a power leg and a pay leg. And then another cluster of group got brought under her by accident. Well, this lady, you guys, ranked up to what we call officer, which I only have like 6 people in my organization that are that high. And I called up the corporate. I was like, look, my people and this other cluster of people are in the wrong spot. We need to move them back over here so I can keep building everybody's power line. She got paid out $4,500 in 3 weeks for doing nothing. So that's when Kevin was like, wait a second. So if I basically come in and I sign up this person, and then they bring in these people, and these people, we could really create some substantial residual income. So that's also what kind of sparked this, because we're looking at different ways of building. But yeah, that lady was getting paid out that much money every week for basically, kind of doing nothing. So I took those people and moved them back over. So I'm going to kind of go to the guys, like, what's y'all's feedback, your thoughts, your questions? Anybody want to chime in?
Drew has a comment he wanted to make.
It's just about hey, Drew.
Just about the business plan. Like he had a comment about Todd's plan, like if he's going to, try to present it to somebody that's a business CEO or whomever.
Yeah, he said he had a lot of videos about the pay plan, so I would love to see them.
So we'll get those in detail. Yeah. And so what was your thoughts on this, Drew, kind of hearing this? So Drew's in commercial real estate. He's starting all these pickleball facilities, and he's been in business for years and years. And he is a talker. He's excellent. So me and Robin's like, we need to get Drew on this. Like, what are your thoughts about this, Drew? Ideas, motivation, anything?
I hadn't really delved into it much, to be honest with you, because as you said, I'm pretty busy building 60 indoor pickleball facilities across 10 states, and I can't really take my eye off the ball. Pardon the pun, right now, because we're signing $10 million leases, every couple of days. But
this is why, for long term.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm here.
What I immediately hear, Drew, is you're in front of 60 owners who have substantial money, who care about health. Everybody that comes in their facilities is health and wellness. You've got a whole market of men, women that would buy Renew, Drop Sand, Moa.
Potentially, yeah.
But what that incentive, right? So just bring those few people and then kind of let them run and us cultivate it, what that could really do for y'all. So that's what you'd like to see, some more of the comp plan. Do you have some ideas of some people you'd like to kind of test this out and get this in front of?
Not currently, but I'm here to support my wife in anything she does and everything she does.
Thank you. What about any thoughts from you, Mark, or Brandy, or anybody else? And we'll wrap this up here in the next several minutes. What you think, Roger? We're throwing Roger in here.
No, so I don't know about the rest of you guys, but like I am mostly moved by personal experience, so like if I talk to somebody who has an amazing personal experience and they're excited about it, I mean, excitement is contagious, and that's the thing that anybody buys into, right? So many people bought into your story, Susan, because of your personal experience. That is extremely motivating. It's not hypothetical. It's not some of these things that other people brought in. So as a man, I think if I double down and I've only been taking the skinny drops, but if I did add these other two, Renew and MOA, and I had it and I get excited about it because of, 50 years old, having, more energy, more, less inflammation, whatever my experience might be, if I just start talking about it to, to other people and, either in my age bracket or whatever, that's motivating. And I think most men like to speak from a personal experience. And that's easy to do because we're excited about it. And I think that's just people in general, right? Whenever we have something exciting in our life, we want to talk about it, especially if we can make money from it, then that's really good. The other thing that I really appreciate is how he said that Reese took the analytical part of it, which, I'm really good at. And, there were these other ladies that sold just as much product, but because Reese was able to place, everybody where he wanted, they made so much more money. So it's interesting to kind of see where, I guess, the natural thing that I do with being more analytical could be a lot more financially beneficial to Stacy. And I think that's probably a lot of men, right? So if I can take something that I'm just going to do all the time anyway, but just put more effort into learning it, then it's going to be much easier to see what I have to contribute. So those are the two things that I think I could probably, easily see myself doing really well.
Very good. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, I just want to check what Roger was saying. I did a little bit of research yesterday, just trying to find the comp plan on YouTube, and I found a number of different videos there. And there was a lot of videos also about how you can really, just by placement, really up your game. And I thought that was fascinating. I didn't take time to look at them yet, but there's a lot of information out there. And I know that Todd, I'm sure, has his hands on all this stuff. But I'm just looking forward to getting into all of that. But I just, I've been, standing by Barb with every network marketing thing she's been doing for the past 10 years. And this one has caught my attention 10 times more than anything else. It's just phenomenal. The people, the ladies in particular, and I am basically with her on every phone call. If I'm not visible, I'm in the background listening. And you all are phenomenal. Truly, it is a great family. And I've seen some great friendships develop here, and I see lots more to come. And it's a beautiful thing, truly.
Thanks so much, Randy. And there was a guy from another team that I was actually trying to hire, and Todd got on the phone with me. He's like, "You don't need to be hiring that person yet." And I was like, "You don't understand. Like, I want to understand how to totally leverage this comp plan. Like, when people are talking about place them here and do this, not just for the week, because we need the volume week over week." So I think, we'll share the comp plan information that Todd shares back, and then write some of these analytical brains so some of you guys can kind of dig into it a little bit deeper. And I think what we do is just kind of start reaching out, and we'll kind of do it. Kevin's got a few people in mind, already, and kind of seeing where this can lead us. But yeah, like I said, that one girl that just backed out, and she's doing $1,200 a week right now. And then that other girl that I accidentally put people under, like, if the men can just bring us some few people that they want to put their selves in as ultimate, and they want to put their 2 children as ultimate, you know what I mean? And they want to put their cousin in ultimate. And then they knew 3 people, a real estate agent, a business developer, and some girl that's in, huge in Mary Kay or Arbonne, right? That right there's your line to start building to really get residual income. Anybody else?
That's good.
Barb, you're muted.
I'm muted.
Now you're good.
You're good.
Okay, good. So I did have one thing for Mr. Pfeiffer is in our back office under commissions. I was playing around with it this week. And if you go to the week and you actually click on the hot link and it breaks it into another, tells you exactly where your commissions are coming from.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. So you're getting 15% here, you're getting a matching bonus here. And it's really awesome. You can pull those reports and take a look at where your money's coming from.
Yeah, and what I love about that report too, Barb, is you can see what your team's doing. And that's going to be this Wednesday night training, you guys, of how to promote and help push them, because it gives you your matching check. So I can see what every single person on my team is making, or better yet, or what they're not making, right? If we keep seeing all this activity, but they're not really making a lot of money, we want to help set that up. Okay, great. Anybody else have anything? And then we'll wrap this up. You have anything?
Yeah, I had one final thought, I guess. When we were talking about all this, I guess I didn't go through it all, but what really caught my attention was, and this stands out because I've been asking Susan for weeks, and when we talked to that guy, last week, he was able to figure out how much, like I said, how much, if I were the person that signed up my wife, which is Susan Frank, how much would I be making a week if that's all I ever did in this business? That's what I was curious, landing one big fish. She's a big fish. And sorry, that sounds bad, but
hold on. And you were stacking these people that you knew down the line. It wasn't only me, because you have to have a line as well.
There's a little more to it, but for the most part, if that's all I really did was sign up one heavy hitter. And the number he came back to me with was more than I thought, which in a good way. It was like $4,000 a week, 16 grand a month, just if you found that right person. So it made me feel like, you know what, there might be a place in this business that I don't feel like I have time for. I'm not going to do the social media thing maybe, but I do know people on an individual level that I think it would be worth, I can't sign up, I guess, because I'm the spouse, but it would be worth it to me to spend $3,000 coming as an ultimate, even if I didn't do anything but put the product on a shelf, just to bring in other people at ultimate that I think are heavy hitters. I think they're the next Susan Cameron, they're next Susan Frank. And that would be my goal, is to really set my sights on half dozen people that I already have in mind versus trying to sell skinny drops to the world, because I can't do that. And she does that great. But so that was kind of this is how this whole men's meeting today, we really formulated around this conversation. So I have questions, lots of questions. I don't have answers, but that's, hopefully this is step one of, we'll continue this conversation.
No, I appreciate it, Kevin. Thanks a lot. That's, I would agree with that. A lot of times it's a matter of time investment, right? Like, am I willing to invest, an hour into, kind of learning this and to see what I can do? I can do that. I'm probably not gonna, do the campaign that they promote, but I can definitely do that, and I can put my mind to use, just like I would in anything else to make some money.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think men, for just my perspective, for you guys, kind of like with the MOA packs, or like if you're even on social media at all and you do a few pictures of you drinking this, like, oh, my athletic performance has really increased. You know what I mean? Just like a few little snippets of you guys with a couple of products, not the whole campaign, nothing like that. I think, like you said, Roger, it does bring it. You always want to know what's it doing for you. Like, what experiences have you had? So I definitely recommend all the men go ahead. We can buy bulk of MOA. So you can buy 10 packs of MOA. It's significantly less expensive, as is the Renew. So, you know, couples, I take MOA and I take Renew every day, and Kevin takes Renew and does the drops every day. Start getting your personal experience with these products kind of built up as well, kind of as we work together over this. So yeah, this is just kind of the foundation. But yeah, Susan Frank said, you guys, I've built my whole business with men before. That's what I've always built. When I was making $250,000 a month, it was all men. So there is definitely some room for you guys. So I challenge everybody to get at least one person over the next week or two on a Zoom with Todd Rowland to let's give it a whirl. Let's see how this goes, and kind of give the group feedback. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Awesome. Have a beautiful Saturday. Oh, fireworks. Woo! Party time. And we look forward, anybody that's not coming to PXP, I've got extra tickets still. I bought the last ones in the company. Let's get some people to Florida. That'll change everything. All right. Bye guys. See ya.